is our list of the top 10 things we think are worth checking if you are buying or collecting a production catamaran. When new boats are constructed, a lot of adhesives and sealants are used during the process. Now, issues can arise if these adhesives and sealants haven't been given enough time to cure before the boat is put in the water or parts are moved. Two examples of areas where this can occur are the rudder stocks and the join that holds the sacrificial keel.
So like underneath the anti-foul of this boat. So this is just unacceptable. So you've just seen that come off, completely wet Sikaflex from factory.
You want to make sure the adhesives in critical areas such as these has cured, otherwise you risk serious issues such as the loss of your sacrificial keel or water ingress into the engine bay, potentially filling it up. This is also a really good time to check the hull penetrations and make sure they don't leak. Windows that are not installed correctly can leak, sometimes causing substantial saltwater damage to anything in its path. Electrical systems are of primary concern. You can also suffer a serious injury from unforeseen water leaking down onto steps or other surfaces, for example, a bad fall while you're underway. This may not be immediately apparent or evident to people who stay on flat water and marina hop, but it can become extremely dangerous and stressful if leaks occur on an ocean crossing or if caught in unforeseen adverse weather.
If a wave is coming up your boat and you think this is a low pressure hose doing this,
it is very important to patiently leak test your windows on a new boat, as some are painful and time consuming to fix, and it doesn't take long to thoroughly spray them during handover. Owners have commented to us that it is also of great value to recheck all windows for leaks after the first heavy weather or ocean crossing, as the flexing from an inadequately constructed hull can cause leaks to develop.
Yeah, stop.
As well as testing your windows, you should also carefully test the deck and side window hatches for leaks. When doing this, we block the channel. Otherwise, the low pressure hoses often found at marinas don't adequately replicate the forces or amount of water from a heavy rainstorm or wave, which can lead to salt water coming into the hull through a poorly installed hatch. Dry fiberglass and gel coat cracks are often messy to fix, could be signs of serious structural issues, may leak, and could require serious technical assistance and time to repair if located in certain areas. Check for hull and deck discrepancies through things that don't feel right and catch the light, including dry fiberglass, blisters, and gel coat cracks. These can be messy and hard to fix properly, and it's reasonable to expect that the hull and gel coat will be relatively defect-free if the yacht is new. If it's not new, but it's new to you, well, you still want to know if there are any larger issues that you need to factor into the price or the deal or your future plans. Some gel coat cracks are superficial, for example, gel coat being applied too thick in an area, but others can be an indicator of larger, serious issues. When it comes to dry fiberglass, this can be detected using scans or by tap testing the hull. Tap testing the hull is something we'd recommend, and we'll talk more about it in future because it's been invaluable to us. It's an excellent way to find areas in the hull that aren't the same as the fiberglass around it, at which point you can then investigate why.
And then it starts getting to the center of the problem.
Premature failure of an autopilot can be caused by the misalignment of components. Now, having spoken to many other cruisers, especially those who undertake multi-day passages or ocean crossings. The Autopilot's pretty high up on the list of things that we don't want to break. Hours or weeks of hand steering could be horrible. So check that the Autopilot chain is aligned between sprockets, all bolts are tight and components aren't moving under operation, the chain is tensioned correctly, and everything is correctly lubricated, or you might have a bad time. When it comes to the rigging, you want to check that the rigging is tensioned within the correct specifications. If it's a new yacht, the cable tension should be recorded somewhere, or someone will have a document with the rigging tensions and order of tightening. There are a number of issues and failures that manufacturers can attempt to blame on your rigging tension being incorrect. So verification when new and after ocean crossings really can help you save arguments later if issues like doors binding up or bulkheads cracking appear. Rigging on a catamaran like a Leopard 42, 45 and 50 should be checked and verified with a tension meter. We have personally experienced that people cannot just do it by feel, and if you have a breakage or a fault that becomes a warranty issue, who do you think will be at fault when you tell them that the last rigger just did it by feel? Catamarans like our Leopard are meant to have a bilge that is free from salt water. So unless the broker can prove it's from an internal drain like a fridge or air conditioner in front of your eyes, it is something that warrants further investigation and the broker should fix it. If a through hull or through fitting leaks, someone will likely have to haul the boat to rectify it. On the MFD, check that it displays data from all inputs like water tanks, test the fuel pumps, etc. Go to the Autopilot functions, check that they work, and also test your radar detail and operation. You don't want to be caught out in the ocean to discover that something isn't working. Don't take your anchoring system for granted. Check that it is all tight and fully functioning on day one. This will involve dropping the entire chain and checking that the end is connected to the hull before you lose it. Make sure your anchor is the right size for your boat in bad weather and optimized for your intended cruising grounds. Check that the electrical enclosure is sealed and all terminations are tight. Last but not least, test your bilge pumps and bilge alarms to make sure they are all functioning correctly. Check your emergency pump functions, both manual and electric, because having confidence in your systems is an important part of your ownership. Parts of the installation of our bilge pump system had to be rectified, and we have read stories on various forums of owners finding mistakes like one-way valves being installed backwards, which is a complete failure.
If you want to check your high-level alarm is functioning and that your bilge pumps are working, the easiest way to do it is just to get into the bilge and manually lift the floats that would turn the bilge on or set the alarm going. And then the high-level alarm is just up here. And just lift it and you'll hear it beep.
So that's 10 of the things we think are worth checking if you are buying, handing over or collecting a catamaran. Now we do have more ideas than this, and you will find those on the Travel Sketch website where we have our suggested handover checklist. I've popped a link in the description. This checklist is more aimed towards Leopard boats, but we've included an editable version so you can make whatever changes you want so that it suits your boat. So I hope this was helpful, but now it is time for me to head upstairs and go and do a few more boat jobs.